I started the Socket podcast almost a year ago, and my friend Liz helped me set a few things up. And she told me that when I started, I needed to determine how many times a week I was going to put the podcast out, and that you always wanted to stick by that. I almost said 3 times a week. And I will tell you right now, almost a year in, I am so glad I didn't. I determined that 2 times a week, I think I would be up for. And I just got started off strong and taped all of these interviews with these wonderful, incredible women in my life and started hitting it hard and taping all these podcasts. And I will tell you that this summer, I ran out of steam. If you've been paying attention, I also own a chiropractic practice. I run a large moms group called the Branch Moms Community in the Napeville and surrounding western suburbs area. And Socket has been my passion project. It's been kind of the years of culmination of everything I've learned and the ups and downs I've had, and finding gratitude and finding my confidence and finding my voice, and just kind of putting this life of thriving together for myself that I've had to kind of claw my way into. So 2 podcasts a week, that didn't seem like that big of a deal. One week I decided I wasn't going to do any. And I felt so guilty about it. I was like, oh my goodness, and at the end of the day, I thought, who do I feel guilty for? I mean, I know I have some amazing listeners that tune in every week, and maybe you went to tune in and I wasn't there, but there's also 40 billion other podcasts that can bring you inspiration. I'm not the only person out here doing this in this world. So hopefully you tuned into another one that you love. And then another week went by and I didn't do one. And so I think I've had about 5 weeks in the past 2 months that I haven't taped any podcasts. So we've swung the pendulum once again a little bit too far in the wrong direction. So I think now, as I roll into my second year of podcasting, I'm going to focus on doing 1 podcast a week as opposed to 2 podcasts a week. And sometimes maybe I'll just throw in an extra podcast just for shits and giggles. So I just appreciate you being here. I appreciate you paying attention. I appreciate the messages that I've gotten from some of you. It always just makes my heart really happy to know that something that I've said or something that I've shared has touched you, changed you, helped you in some way, because that's the whole reason that I do this. So during this time of non-podcasting, Jason and I decided to take a couple road trips. The summer's kind of finishing out in the Chicagoland area, and we just thought, we have a week here where we don't have any meetings we have to go to, or we've got a week there we don't have any meetings to go to, and we're fortunate enough for most of our work to be able to work from a computer. So we can just pack up the car, throw the computers in and go. So we went to Denver for a couple of days, and then we ended up driving from Chicago down to the Destin, Miramar Beach, Florida area, and had a couple of days just in the water. Is my happy place. I just absolutely love it. There's nothing that makes me feel the same as being in the ocean and just floating in there. I feel like my whole soul just spreads out into the ocean. I don't even know how to describe it. I know many of you have expressed that water is very healing and very calming for you as well. So maybe you do know exactly what I mean. I get a little antsy if I don't see an ocean for a while. And living in Chicago, there are no oceans really close by. So it was super nice to just be able to jump in the car and take that road trip. Anyway, I came back. School started back up. I've got a sophomore in college who will be on his way to Palmer College of Chiropractic in Davenport, Iowa next year to start his journey to become a chiropractor, which is super exciting to me. And then I've got my senior in high school, Nick, and he is my go with the flow, happy as a clam child, my 6'4" black belt martial arts. He's doing other martial arts classes now to get his second level in, I think, Taekwondo or Jiu-Jitsu. I lose track of them. But he really is hoping to someday own his own dojo, be able to teach kids and do that for a living. So that's exciting to me as well. Anyway, as the new school year begins, I always see it as this big transition for my children and also for myself. I'm a summer baby, My birthday is in August. I love, love, love summer. But right on the tail, right on the coattails of summer, you roll into fall and the beautiful leaves and the jeans and the sweatshirt weather and the fire pit. And oh my goodness, there's so many incredible things about fall as well. For me in Chicago, the only bad part about fall is it leads you right into winter. And sometimes the winters here are like 3 months and sometimes they're like 6 months and they just never go away. Anyway, so I came back from this trip to Florida and kids are, off to school. We're doing a lot of work at the practice. We've been doing a build out and changing our systems and adding another doctor. So there's some growth there that we're managing and making sure that our processes and our systems for our billing, our notes, our communication and inter-office communication is all where it needs to be, because just a couple of years ago, it was just me as the doctor, and now we have 4 doctors. So that's a big change, and I'm really thankful for that growth, especially, navigating through a pandemic as well. I think people are looking into, how am I taking care of my body, right? Not even getting into the vax, not vax situation or conversation, but taking care of your body is always going to be one of the number one ways to promote your health. Making sure that your body is getting sleep and enough water and decreasing stress and exercise, movement on a daily basis, getting fiber and protein and good healthy fats. I mean, there's just so much that goes into our body and keeping our body as strong, as healthy as possible so that our immune system, which is incredible, can fight everything off, not just COVID, but everything. So anyway, I came back and I realized that I was feeling pretty out of balance in some of the ways I was taking care of my health. Talked about this before. Hopefully I don't have to keep talking about it again for too long, but I reached out to a good friend of mine. Her name is Candice Lawrence. I met her because her and her partner, Dr. Kim, they were in practice here in Naperville for 25 years, and they just recently moved to Seattle. And they contacted me because we had a mutual connection at the Chamber of Commerce, and they were looking for someone to be able to send their patients to. So we met, and it was like, we'd known each other all of our lives, and they ended up referring their patients to our practice. And we've been really thankful for that, and being able to, have a home for the patients that have been seeing them for decades, some of them decades. And I know that they felt great being able to refer to a practice that really cares about the patients. Anyway, she just sent me her business information. I said I was going to talk about her. I said, what business do you go under? I just want to be able to tell people about you, because what I just experienced for an hour and a half was incredible. She is under CandiceALawrence.com. So CandiceALawrence.com. And what she specializes in, kind of like functional medicine. She's not a doctor, but it is amazing how many people know so much about the human body, way beyond what maybe your typical doctor, your primary care doctor knows. I'm not saying they're bad. There's some that are incredible, but some really don't know some of the depths and the details of nutrition or hormonal issues and things like that. So I always suggest finding someone that's really intelligent about these things. It has the training in it, right? We only know what we've learned and what we practice on a regular basis. So many people, no matter what healing profession they're in, they're really good at a couple of things, but there's a lot that they don't know. So I'm a big proponent of searching out the people that really do a deep dive into that functional medicine, naturopathy, things like that. So she analyzes your nutrition and what your body needs based off your blood type. So I am an O, and what I just found out that I was an O. And so she was like, well, we're going to start off this conversation with some great news. You have blood type O, which apparently, as she says is the golden ticket of blood types. There's just the blood type, your body can kind of take a few extra things. It's a little healthier tendency to live longer. I was like, oh, well, It's really good information. So we spent an hour and a half going through some of my blood work in the past, some of the blood work I need to get done, some of the things I'm eating, like gluten is awful for O. It's just awful. It affects your thyroid, affects inflammation. And one of the surprising things she said was that my body actually needs more red meat because it needs more iron. Now, you can talk to 50 different specialists in nutrition, and they might all tell you something completely different. But I really liked what she had to say. We talked about my Tito's drinking. And unfortunately for me, Tito's, even though it's gluten-free, comes from corn. And corn is terrible for my body. So there are a couple things that I eat, or do on a regular basis or semi-regular basis that she was like, that's going to affect your body. And if you want to make a change in your body right now, then, it doesn't have to be forever, but at least a month and a half, we're going to take both of our feet out of the water and clear up our gut. She talked a lot about gut health. And I know that's kind of a buzzword, but the fact is that our lining in our gut is not good. Most people in America, we don't have good gut health, and it allows particles to go into our body that are too big, which creates an immune response in our body, which then can cause autoimmune issues and things like that. It's a much more complicated system than what I just said, obviously, but it also is things that affect our emotions, and our serotonin come from the villi that are these little things that are on top of our gut lining. There's so much that happens in your stomach that I don't know enough about. I feel a little silly I don't know it, because I kind of lived in a healthcare world and a preventative, natural method healthcare world as a chiropractor for 23 years. But every time I turn around, it's like the human body just has something else to learn about it. It's incredible. It's just incredible. So I find when I am out of balance, there's a couple other things that are happening in my life. The primary one is I get a little cluttered in my physical space. My closet's a mess. I'm storing stuff. Like, we all have a junk drawer, right? Well, sometimes my kitchen turns into junk drawers and cabinets, and then the overflow goes on the floor in the dining room because we're not in there that often. My car isn't as clean. My purse is a mess. And so I find that many times when I'm not feeling as good about myself and my body, that also relates to how I'm taking care of that physical space. So when I feel the way I was feeling, that kind of this out of balance, my weight has crept way up. I remember when I started Socket, I was just on such a good roll. I was working out more. I still walk a lot, but I was doing weight training and I was eating really well. And I know when I started Socket, I talked about in one of the earlier episodes, I was down weight. I don't tend to weigh myself that often because it just screws me all up. I've talked about that too. But I get on these, I do it for a few months and then I go, ugh, and I do it for a few months. And throughout the journey of my life, I have yet to find a way to get the habits going in the right direction without being so black and white about perfection. And, you screw up or you have a bad meal and then it just sets me off into like, oh, whatever. I'm still working on it. I'm still a work in progress on that. And you know what? That's okay. Man, we're all works in progress in some way, shape, or form, aren't we? I mean, think about it. What parts of your life do you not feel proud of right now? What parts of your life do you feel like you need to improve? Are you not sleeping? Is your stress eating you alive? Are you yelling at your kids nonstop? Are you drinking too much? Are you not exercising at all? Are you watching too much TV? Are you letting yourself live in a fear state over things you can't control? Are you in good relationship with yourself? Are you honest with yourself? There's so many different parts of our lives that can get off track at certain points. And my thought is, man, we all just have to continue having some grace for ourselves, continue having just letting it go. If there's a period of time of your life where you're just not knocking it out of the park in one area of your life, that's okay. It's okay. But the quicker you can identify you're going down the wrong path, the quicker you can reel that back in. And again, not for perfection, but for growth and for taking steps forward each day to live a happier and healthier life. One of the things I rolled out in January was the 12 elements of health. And I have loved diving into each of the 12 elements that I created. It went from mindset to physical health to emotional health to ergonomics of life to financial health to spiritual well-being, hydration and nutrition, movement and flexibility. In September, which happens tomorrow. I can't believe it's September already. We're rolling into emotional health, and we're going to have Amanda Kunzer of Good Therapy come on to talk about emotional health. She works for a large therapy company in our area. So each month I've rolled out one part of your health to be able to talk about, how do I take this to the next level? What's an action step that I could take for this element to help my body be as healthy as it can? And I created this card that we just recently had our branch networking lunch. And so I gave everyone one of these cards. On the front, it has the visual of our 12 elements of health. And then on the back, it lists all of them. And it just has a little scale, low to high, nothing too complicated. And I asked everyone to go home, spend some time and look at these 12 different parts of your life and rate yourself from low to high. I'll put this on the website so you can see it, and you can do it at home. And in that low to high, you get done with doing those 12, pick the lowest 3, and then I have a place to put an action step, one after another, 1, 2, 3. Just one action step for each of those low areas. Maybe you're only getting 5 hours of sleep. Maybe you need to turn off the TV a half an hour earlier and then work towards an hour earlier. Maybe you're sleeping in and you need to get some stuff done, and you can shift the sleep to trying to start going to bed earlier and wake up a little bit earlier. So, maybe it's a sleep issue. Maybe it's a hydration issue where, I have so many patients that say they drink 2 8-ounce glasses of water a day, and that's just not enough to be hydrated. So maybe it's increasing it by 20 ounces a day for the first 2 weeks, and then 40 ounces a day to get to a half of your body weight. No matter what you weigh, the mark is half of that weight in ounces, which is a heck of a lot of water. And then maybe one of your things is emotional health. Again, what we're rolling into in September. And for emotional health, do you need to find a counselor to chat with? Do you have good friendships with people you can be honest and open with about what you're struggling with? Do you have those resources available to you to try to help you get to an emotionally healthier place? Are you in danger in any way? Do you need to reach out and tell someone that? So that's what we'll be talking about in September. So after the 3 action steps, there's a space for an affirmation statement. And this is where you are affirming who you are, who you believe you to be, who you want to be. And my suggestion is, you don't put in there where you are now. You put in there what you want to be. My first affirmation statement, let me see if I can get this right, was, I have a healthy, strong, and powerful body, and I respect and take care of it. And I created that with a business coach named Bill Bartlett years ago. And back then, again, I wasn't taking care of my health as well as I should be. And I wanted to be different. And it was funny, I did all of this work with him, and that led me into a space where I took better care of myself in 2015 and 2016 than I ever have. And I felt phenomenal in so many ways. And so this time I just turned 48. 48 seems like a good time to get back to that core of health and to focus more on, how can I make sure I keep my body as healthy as it can be, and what steps do I need to take? What action steps do I need to take? And what new affirmation statement do I want to say about myself? Anyway, I appreciate you listening. You can always find me at Cathy@simplysocket.com. And I'm available for questions, anything you want to send me. And I'm always happy to make some time to respond back and see if I can either answer your question or help you find a resource. So to the start of September and to your health. I hope you have a great day. Bye.